As of right now, what is one of the most iconic superhero suits in your opinion? Maybe you might think of characters of recent time like Omni-Man, or you might think of... But we all know that suit is not nearly as he is. As you can see, I'm a fan of the Invincible universe, and I couldn't help myself but not do a little bit of a meme like this. Now for me personally, I'm a big fan of Duplicate suit, and it's not because I've been playing the Invincible versus fighting game and they did a really good job of showing off her curves. Or maybe you're a classic kind of person that think of certain characters like Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman, The Flash, and of course one of the most greatest superheroes to ever exist in the DC universe, Batman. From certain people's opinion, not my own. I think of other characters that are better. But either way, Batman has many iconic and legacy suits that we all know might be still iconic long after we all have shuffled off this mortal coil. There are many suits to think of, like the Batman Beyond suit for Terry McGinnis and the old school gray and blue from Brave and the Bold. And we can't forget about the live action suits of Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson. But I did stumble upon a question for myself when I was thinking about these legacy suits. We all know that Batman's superpower is his never-ending trust fund money. The man never has to look at his bank account ever in his entire life. Therefore, I wanted to ask a simple question. How much does Batman spend on each suit? Also, how much does it cost for him to repair each suit? Hello you beautiful monkeys, it's your boy Kadukun, and today we're going to be doing a breakdown of what is Batman's least to most expensive bat suit he has ever created for today's new episode for this series, Fictional Economics. Now you might be asking a question, well, Kadukun, how exactly are you going to break down all of the suits? Well, there's obviously some suits I can't break down, like the God Share Batman suit. Like, there's no realistic way for me to break down that suit because he was wearing his normal suit and then he hopped into the God Share. So realistically, his suit doesn't change in price or cost, especially if the suit gets completely destroyed, but either way, it doesn't really matter. I only looked at suits that I feel like that I can actually get a realistic cost from the materials that was being made, and break it down from a theoretical standpoint. Because the idea is there are many suits that I can't really think about how I could actually find a realistic price for how Batman made it. So I'm only taking suits that I think realistically can actually have a feasible price in the real world. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go down the list and we're going to break everything down at the very end. And the first suit we're going to talk about today is the red suit prototype. Before Batman was known as the Dark Knight of Darkness, he was almost known as the Red and Wooden Knight in quotations. Some of the very first sketches made by Bob Kane, Bruce sported a bright red Union suit and rigid stiff wings that looked like they were plucked off of a random Hollywood set for a stage play. Now, looking at this through a 2026 lens, you're basically looking at a very high-end DIY project, because the cotton wool blend for the suit and the polywood or stiffened canvas for those wings, the total bill will most likely roughly come out around $150, or if you're really into the idea, you could probably buy it off of Etsy and find someone to get the pieces for you, and maybe find a way to lower the price as low as possible, maybe as low as $90 or $95, or if you're really lucky, buy something from Party City, rest in peace its soul. This is probably the one and only time in history you could have funded a Batman mission through a single shift at a fast food joint, maybe from just tips alone. Because one thing for sure, there is zero tech and zero armor when it comes to this suit. And the cost per minute of fight time is a negligible 2 cents. You could literally fight in this for an hour for the price of a cheeseburger. Now you might be asking something here. Wait, Kadukun, what are you talking about the cost per minute of fight time? Well, here's the thing. Most people think once you buy a super suit, you're done. You just get into the action. But in the world of high-stakes vigilantism, the suit is considered something known as a consumable asset. For the better understanding, think about it like this, for example. A modern-day F-35 fighter jet costs about $35,000 per hour just to keep in the air. That's nearly $600 a minute for just the fuel, the pilot's oxygen, and the wear and tear of the stealth cloaking. Now transition that example of the fighter jet flying around 30,000 feet to exactly you being punched in the face by Killer Croc. Now for us to get a somewhat understanding of Batman's CPM, we use the depot level maintenance logic. Depot level maintenance logic is the highest level of military maintenance, involving major overhaul, repair, or modification of weapon systems, equipment, and software that exceeds field level capacity. For every minute Batman fights in a high intensity scrap, we have to factor in 3 things. The ablative factor. Modern armor is designed to break so your bones don't. 1 minute of blocking bullets with Kevlar weave and cape means that the cape is now structurally compromised. It's a one and done item. Next would be electric burn. Powering a cowl that can see through walls, track 50 heartbeats at once, and run a 2026 grade AI requires massive energy density. We're talking specialized solid state batteries that still cost about $5,000 a pop and have the lifespan of a TikTok trend when pushed to the limit. And lastly, the secret supply chain. Now yes, of course, it is completely reasonable to understand that Bruce might be figuring this all out on his own, but there's only so much time in the day, so Bruce can't exactly go to the local tailor for repairs. He's paying a premium to fly in maybe specialized engineers or 3D printing parts using proprietary carbon fiber filaments that costs more than gold per gram. So basically when we say a suit has a CPM of about, let's say, $14,000, it means if Batman spends about 10 minutes fighting the Joker, he just spent about $140,000 in repairs for battery swaps and structural replating and all a bunch of extra stuff on top of it. Now with that put into perspective, let's break down the next expensive suit that I believe would be after the red suit, which would be the first appearance suit that happens in Detective Comics number 27. Once Bill Finger got his hands on the design a lot more cohesive and a lot more proper, things got a little bit more professional, but we're still not in like superpower territory yet. When it comes to this suit used heavy gray wool and those iconic purple leather gloves that fans still debate about today. While it looks cooler, there's still no ballistic protection here. For the most part for this suit is bespoke tailoring. Based on the price of high-end custom-made 1930s athletic wear and specialty leather work, this kit could honestly cost Bruce about $800 on average. It's a setup, but it's still made for like an Olympic gymnast than a tactical tank with 101 mechanical parts to it. And his cost per minute while wearing this suit would most likely around 15 cents per minute, which means Bruce is spending more money on laundry than the actual gear itself. Now the first 2 suits are a little bit easier to break down because they don't require that much materials to actually create the suits themselves. But we're now moving on to actually very higher grade suits that I believe would cost even more compared to the last suit, damn near 2 times or 3 times more. And now we're going to be talking about one of the 3rd most expensive suits up to this point, which I believe would be the Christian Bale tactical suit from the Dark Knight trilogy. Because at this point now, we're actually moving into the realm of military grade. This is the first time we see Bruce really lean into R&D, utilizing a Nomex tri-weave and hardened Kevlar plates. For those who are unfamiliar with the materials known as Nomex tri-weave or Kevlar, these are the main materials that are used in like bulletproof vests. They are very highly moved in different ways that are used with firefighters and policemen. And given that there are people in the first responder sphere that actually use these kind of materials, it's mostly used in the military for most likely the average soldier or higher ranking officials to make sure that they don't get blown to bits when they can get on the field or get hit with 101 different bullets. But there's one real kicker about this suit, is the memory cloth cape, which uses experimental electrostatic polymers to stiffen on command. Lucius Fox famously quoted the core of his suit was $300,000, but when you add in the custom tooled cowl, the miniaturized HUD, and the untraceable supply chain that comes with it while making sure that this thing can be made in the first place, the total invoice realistically, if you were trying to break it down from the materials, the people that they hired, all of the people they made it under false pretenses knowing that it's not being made for the Batman, everything on top of that, it would hit about $1.1 million just to make one suit. Because this suit requires high-end maintenance and the materials degrade over time under fire, the cost per minute for fighting in this suit each minute will cost about $183 per minute. That means every time Batman stops for a 3-minute dramatic monologue on a rooftop while getting shot with bullets by the average thug, he's burning nearly about $600 per time he gets hit with those bullets. And that's not including all the random medical bills that he has to pay for while dealing with burns from being blown up by the Joker or getting his back broken by a roided out Mexican. But the next suit I'm going to talk about, funny enough, I don't even understand how exactly this Batman actually has created this suit in the first place. Now keep in mind, a lot of these suits, when I'm breaking down the prices and actually giving you this condensed version of this material, it's based off of the average size of Batman, which is about 6'2" and about 280 pounds. Now, the next suit I'm going to be talking about is based off of him being a massive behemoth and has been recently more popular in recent time. And a lot of you already know what I'm going to talk about next. It is the absolute Batman suit in 2026. This suit is a masterpiece of material science overkill. Instead of a utility belt, the 2026 Absolute Batman uses a modular system where the entire suit itself is just a tool, including a chest logo made out of a borocarbon alloy that detaches into a massive axe. The suit is constructed from a grape-heaving reinforced carbon fiber, which is currently one of the most expensive materials to manufacture in this scale. Now, before I go into the understanding of how the suit could probably be created in real life, we must understand that this Batman in this world is working a random average 9-to-5 job. So when I was trying to break this down in my head, I'm thinking, how in the ever-loving flabberdoodle is this man able to actually create this suit in the first place? Now, I understand this version of Batman kind of cheated and used like a science project to find a way to reconstruct all of the very hard metals needed to actually recreate it and turn it into a versatile bat suit, even though lacking the high-tech cave and all that good stuff. Listen, even though he may be able to do it because, you know, he's big brain Batman, we must understand, we do not have big brain Batman in real life. This suit would literally cost so much money in real life to actually be made based on the materials alone. Between the high tensile cowl eyes and the phenomenally powered shield cape, the production cost is damn near eye-watering, about $8 million. Because we must understand something right now. The grapefamine reinforced carbon fiber, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that completely utterly wrong, that alone can cost about $60,000 on average per ton. Now we are talking about absolute Batman. We're talking about a man that's almost, I believe, 6'5" and almost damn near 400 pounds of pure muscle. And we're talking about this behemoth of a man constantly trying to make a very specific tailored suit for himself. Now, yes, again, like I said, he kind of cheated, so he kind of made it himself, so he doesn't really have to go through the whole massive pricing aspects of it. But remind yourself, if we were able to do this in real life and we don't have the mental capacity like Batman, we must be spending thousands upon thousands of dollars, not just to be able to make a functioning suit, but for one to actually be put on and to continuously go out there and rinse and repeat to go out into the field, use it, get it damaged, come back, and then repair it to go back in the field again. And because since Grapefamine is so temperamental to repair, the cost per minute to fight this time for using this suit is damn near $14,000 per minute. If Batman takes a scratch on his gauntlet, just even a little bit of a dent, that is a whole new luxury car down the drain, bro. But as much as that might be the most absurd thing I may be talking about because of how relatively less wealthy Absolute Batman is, the next suit we're going back into the billionaire sphere, but is one of the more popular versions of Batman, and we all know this is probably one of the most expensive suits to exist in the entirety of the Batman universe, but we're not exactly quite done yet. The next suit I'm only talking about is the Arkham Knight V803 suit. Now, if you haven't played any of the Arkham games, you know this suit is less than clothing. It's more like a wearable F-35 fighter jet strapped to your damn chest. It features titanium dipped triple weed fibers and a liquid armor layered made out of non-Newtonian fluids that harden on impact. This man has layers upon layers upon layers of metal stacked upon this armor, hence why he can take so much damage in the first place despite him being nothing more than a fleshy human. The tech in the cowl alone, not even, forget about the gauntlets and his boots and everything else. The cowl alone features a detective mode. The real-time X-ray and thermal scanning requires more processing power than a modern data center just to look in the general room and to figure out which bad guy he wants to snap the neck of first. And that's not including his shocking gauntlets, his gliding cape, and all these other extra things that he has useful on his suit. All of these things take time to be integrated into the suit, and not only that, all of the items required into his utility belt, like his smoke bombs, his shock grenades, his batarangs, all these extra things that are made by a lot of the same materials that is made out of his suit, will take time and extra energy needed to modify them in specific forms. I would be here for hours trying to name every single thing that this Batman suit can do. There are so many things that this suit can do that just makes absolutely no sense. But because of that, and we have to pretend that theoretically this may be real, we must try to break it down in a way that makes sense. So based off of all of that, trying to understand every bit of it, realistically, we're estimating the total build for this modular beast of a suit would be $450 million. It's designed for high-speed G-force maneuvers and contains an internal medical bay that can reset bones mid-fight, despite the fact they need to pay for those medical bills afterwards anyways. Your cost per minute of fight time is a staggering $75,000. Mostly due to the sheer amount of energy and data consumption required to keep that HUD going. If it gets damaged, that is even more money they need to spend to just repair it in the first place. God bless this man has the capacity and ability to fix it himself, but imagine if he didn't. But we are not exactly quite done yet. I believe that there are two even more expensive Batsuits to ever exist in the entirety of the DC universe for Batman. And the next suit I'm going to be talking about is absolutely insane, but it actually makes a lot of sense, especially if you watch one of my previous videos. The next suit I'm going to be talking about is the Kryptonite armor, aka the anti-Superman suit. This is where one of my previous math equations that I brought up before in a video that I talked about figuring out the worth of kryptonite. So I'm going to be using that video. So if you want to know what number I came up with back in that video, check that out. I broke down the worth to me what kryptonite would be, and we ended up with an absurd number. To survive a fight with the Man of Steel, Batman uses a lead-shielded exoskeleton with kryptonite-infused weapon system. If we assume that the suit uses about 250 ounces of kryptonite to power the knuckles of the dampening field, that already alone from just the knuckles would be about $256 million alone, because kryptonite is insanely expensive. About, I think if I remember correctly, it was about a little bit over $1 million per ounce for kryptonite. Now when you add the heavy duty hydraulics and the custom radiation shield and everything else besides that, we were looking at a total bill of about $550 million. And of course, the cost per minute of fight time is about $91,600. Batman isn't just fighting Superman at this point. He's essentially throwing a massive fleet of private jets at Superman's head, while at the same time crapping out thousands and millions of dollars of jet fuel out of his backside. One punch at a time. But with everything broken down, I believe I found one would be even more expensive than the kryptonite suit. Now mind you, while I was going through this, I was looking at all different kinds of versions of different suits, and I realized that a lot of them end up being a little bit more or less expensive just because of the color scheme, maybe color dyes, and maybe even just one extra utility option that was added to the suit, so they don't end up being too, expensive beyond just the first or second tier. So a lot of the times I wanted to see if I can jump further and further and further. Now this is the most absurd amount of money, and mind you, this is probably the most ridiculous amount that I can think of, because this feels like it makes sense, because this is the closest I can think of him trying to forge something that actually might be possible. Keep in mind, in the realm of the DC universe. The final and the most expensive Batsuit that I believe will be in the DC universe is the Hellbat armor suits. Now, finally, we have the nuclear option, forged in the sun by Superman and tempered by the rest of the Justice League. This suit was alien technology that mimics the powers of the gods. The base production cost would have to be in about, $1.2 billion. That's what I can think of, because the hidden cost is just more scary than that, because the suit itself literally drains the metabolism of the user to function. To calculate the real world cost, you have to factor in the intensive care unit recovery and advanced system cell therapy Bruce needs after he uses the suit. We have finally reached a suit where the actual worth of it doesn't really relate to what it's being made of, because for the most part, I didn't even really need to look at that. All I really need to look at is all of the possible medical bills that Bruce would need to pay for after wearing this suit in the first place. Every other suit, yes, that might be factored into the actual worth of actually creating the suit, but this one is the main driving force for the cost of this suit. Because the draining of his metabolism and going into the intensive care unit and doing everything he can to just recover after using the suit is astronomically painful to go through. And on top of that, whatever the hell is being made out of. From what I understand, it's made with a bunch of random alien technology and human technology at the same time, and on top of that, it's being used to be merged with the powers of a bunch of different crazy gods in the DC universe. This entire thing is so absurd that there's no way it could be even $1 billion, but that is what I could get to realistically, trying to make it up in some way. With that being said, the cost per minute for fighting time and using the suit is a soul-crushing $450,000 per minute. Using this suit for 10 minutes might actually put a legitimate dent in the entirety of the Wayne Manor fortune, which frankly we still don't really know about. But after Bruce uses the suit, we might actually find out a legitimate price. They might see it actually go down for the first time in their entire lives. And that is it. That is all of the suits that I have ranked to being one of the least to the most expensive Batsuits that Batman has ever worn in the entirety of DC. Now, frankly, I looked through as many as I could. I probably could have broken down a few more. So let me know if you want me to do this video again and see if I can update the list or make it a little bit better, or make the list longer, making list of either all of the least expensive ones to the most expensive ones, whichever way you want it to be. Like, I like doing these kind of contents, and let me know if you actually like these kind of fictional economics videos a little bit more too, where it's not super condensedly broken down, but at the same time is a little bit like a listing kind of thing. I kind of like doing this because it's a little less painful on the research for me, but also I like doing the more deeper dive ones as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like as well if you want to see more videos like this. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for other videos like this, and don't forget to check out my other videos as well. Also, don't forget to check out my gaming channel. I'll be playing Invincible Versus and a bunch of other fighting games and indie games as well. It's your boy Kadukun. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.